Welcome to Between Over and Next with your hosts, Holli and Robert, a happily married couple who explore the space between what was, what is, and what's to come. From career changes to navigating life's uncertainties, this dynamic duo will empower you to live your happiest life at every age and stage. So, get ready because your journey with Holli and Robert starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Between Over and Next. Hi, Holli.
Hi, Robert. So who's the list person in this duo?
Oh, me. I have lists for everything.
Okay.
I
Now
don't write them
you
down.
fib.
I don't write them down.
So you've got lists in your head?
Oh, goodness. I have lists in my head.
Today's episode is all about exploring the concept of, the understanding of non-negotiables. When I say that word, Robert, what does that mean to you?
When I think about it, it's something that I don't think about because my non-negotiables are just part of me. So I guess if I have to break it down, they're my must-haves.
That's a good description.
I had an important list of must-haves was when we moved. Right?
Without
We
a
were
doubt.
talking about this last night.
We were.
Right, because no matter where we drive, there's been a development or a block or a cul-de-sac or something that we went to an open house at. And we just talked about this less than 12 hours ago. What did we have to have? What did we want?
And as important as that is what we don't want. Non-negotiables are both in our professional lives and in our personal lives. How it impacts people at work, whether you're an entrepreneur or a team member.
Is there really two lists? Shouldn't
There's
your
crossover.
non-negotiables
No.
be who you are and then you shape that to whether it's to whatever it is
That's
in
a fair-
life? I guess it's just a way of categorizing
That's fair. That's
our
fair.
non-negotiables, but I think it goes to our core, right?
It's how you
those
show up,
things.
your non-negotiables, the things that matter most to you is how I think about it. But when I'm talking about in life and business, we're partners in life and business. I talk about non-negotiables in our social circles, family and friends. And then you have your business life, even though this is our business life.
Yeah, I
whether
guess
you're-
for us because it's so,
there's
like
crossover. And
you
there
know,
are common denominators.
it's our life.
But
It's our life.
Like you said,
right?
like when we moved, we had the things we want and we don't want. But even when we were choosing each other, Robert, anyone who's in the world of dating, there are things you like and there are things you don't like. And there are some things that are must-haves. With you, I wanted chemistry. That's an important non-negotiable. Importantly, we have good communication and our core values overall when it comes to family and friends and work are aligned. And I think that that's a really good thing. Your non-negotiables need to be mutually beneficial. I wanted someone who was smart, someone who was funny. Sometimes when you first meet someone, you don't have the whole checklist of what you want, but there are certain ones at the very beginning of getting together with someone else, what really matters to you.
I think when it comes to a romantic connection.
Yeah, what'd you look for?
Well, I mean, obviously someone who could cook. No.
Okay, so
You know, to be honest with you, and
wait a
true
second.
to who I
First of all,
am.
tell everybody I am not the cook. It wasn't even on
No,
my list.
no.
It was just that
No,
was a
but
bonus.
Listen, truthfully, I don't recall when I met you if I had a list of like what I was looking for. When it comes to relationships, to me, it was always I let the universe kind of work,
But
you know.
you knew what you didn't like from your
Correct.
prior relationship.
Right. I knew what I was looking for, and you just happened to fit into that. Now, when I look back on it, because I truly believe that there are no coincidences, I really think that kind of the universe, because of the circumstances, because it was an unlikely opportunity for me, like I couldn't go out to a bar somewhere filled with people and talk to 3 single women in the span of 2 hours. And here it was on a Sunday out on Long Island. I was in a space with 3 eligible women. There may have been more, I don't know. And that's where I met you.
As a couple that is professionally together,
Right?
Right.
Connected.
we are passionate about encouraging others. We are respected mentors to family, friends, business colleagues, and often trusted advisors in the roles we play. We stay true to our mission of living happy, fulfilled lives. While we're here with you and you're listening or watching us, I want you to think about your non-negotiables, and we're going to talk about them in life and business. Let me give you a definition of what non-negotiables are. They refer to the core principles, values, or conditions a person is unwilling to compromise on, regardless of circumstances. These aspects of life or work hold significant importance and must be adhered to for an individual to feel authentic and fulfilled. So, Robert, why don't you tell everybody what inspired us to talk about non-negotiables?
Well, watching the television show The Bear.
So it's up to season 3, and I hope I'm not ruining it for anybody who's watching The Bear. Carmi, the lead character, made a list of non-negotiables as they are opening up their new restaurant called The Bear.
So Holly took a picture of the screen.
Well, I wanted to read them.
What it is.
I want to read them, and then I want to expand on that. So a few of them are less is more, vibrant collaboration, consolidation, confidence, competence, in-and-out service, pursuit of excellence, something we talk about all the time, details matter, focus, no surprises, never repeat anything on the menu. He made this list of non-negotiables, and he told someone to print copies and to give it to everybody. By the way, they were his list, nobody else's. And there was actually no conversation about these non-negotiables. I don't think that's fair. Carmi, the character, is driven. He's hyper-focused, laser-focused. He wants a Michelin star for this restaurant. So I had to look that up. Michelin star is awarded to restaurants offering outstanding cooking. They take into account 5 universal criteria: the quality of the ingredients, the harmony of flavors, the mastery of techniques, the personality of the chef as expressed through their cuisine, and just as importantly, consistency both across the entire menu and over time. Now, in essence, this is just subjective, one person's review, right?
Correct. And that's exactly what I was going to say. And if you're in the circle of restaurants as a restaurateur or as a patron, these things are important. But as you're reading through the list of what makes a Michelin star restaurant, I've dined in Michelin star restaurants by this criteria that nobody's ever heard of. Wonderful experiences. Just happens to be that whoever's judging is seeing certain restaurants, not others. So this is purely subjective, but I think that the principles behind trying to achieve something like this certainly elevates to some level your restaurant.
Well,
To strive, you have to kind of keep things in perspective. And I am guilty of this in many ways as a videographer. We had awards, right?
you've actually achieved some.
I've achieved
because
some.
we believe in excellence.
Correct. But the whole concept of awards, awarding people for what they do in regards to their work, in some respects is like, okay, really, what are we talking about here? We're creating wedding video. We're documenting people's weddings.
It's about achievement. It's about accomplishment. But again, it's subjective.
It's subjective. And
From
I
a panel of judges.
And I think that certainly within an industry becomes important. But I think when you come to rely on that to make you feel fulfilled, is another story. I think for me, and maybe to our detriment, I never believed in creating a type of business where I didn't matter. I think people would hire me as a video journalist for their special event many times, not only because of the work I created, but because they liked me. They liked how I made them feel that day, how calm I was. I can't tell you how many times a member of the wedding party would say to me, "You're so calm." And I would laugh and say, well, what would happen if I was running around panicking? How would you feel?
So
he says, okay, I understand.
The bear gives you this behind the scenes of what's going on in a restaurant, in the kitchen and in the front of the house. And Richie is in the front of the house, and he's being the Robert, okay, trying to make all the customers happy with all the details. Let me tell you, I am behind the scenes when I've watched you. I've watched you get ready for a shoot, and I've watched you in the editing process.
Sure.
You care about the details.
It's kind of demonstrated in this level of restaurant, right? When your menu is almost chosen for you. It's a tasting menu. They're taking you through certain courses. Like when we were up in Harlem, we had that great dinner. Other than saying we're okay with fish and we don't have any allergies or anything like that, you go ahead and direct us. It's an experience, and you let yourself be taken into that, right? And you don't ask, do you have ketchup? You would never do something like that in that environment. That's for people who are looking for that type of excellence, but you never want to let the customers see, and I don't want to use the word, it's not panic or anything like that. There's a lot that makes it look effortless and easy and wonderful.
Another analogy would be like, I think about when you do document special events, you only get one chance to get it right. You know, that's how they feel in the restaurant. Each time they are presenting a new plate to someone, they want to excite that customer. You only had one chance to get it right.
Well, and that's why I never...
versus a sitcom where you see so many edits and takes.
That's why I never had packages. I never had the gold, silver, and bronze package. Well, I did at one point, but eventually I realized that I didn't want someone to engage my services and not have me do my best work. I wanted to give the gold package every time. So that's when I did away with those others, because it was like, do I want to have something that didn't really represent who I was as a documentarian? Because they chose the bare bones of what I could possibly do. Other people looking at it don't realize that. They just see my name on it and think, well, that's the kind of work that I do. So at that point, it was like, you're going to get everything that I do no matter what. This is what it costs.
So you just said putting a name to it. I think that's a real important part of it.
It's, and that's why we never had the type of business where we didn't matter as part of the equation, that it was just, we'll send out anybody to do it. There's lots of companies that do that. They send out crew 1, crew 2, crew 3. They're doing 4 or 5 events in a weekend. You don't know who you're going to get or anything like that.
But honestly, we are much more personalized like the bear. Listen, there's crossover in any type of business you're doing.
And you want to eat there in a restaurant like, because of who's making your food and who's buying the food and who's preparing the food and serving it.
There were so many things that came to mind as I was watching this episode, hence why we're producing this episode today. Because there are a few of the things that came to mind is about being excellent every day. You could put a lot of pressure on yourself. And then there is an evolution of your creativity and your passion while that's happening. Sometimes you have to step back and look at it just like we did in our last episode, reflecting on what we've done thus far. How do you exceed the minimum? That is a personal choice. We set very high standards. Is there any such thing as being perfect? And doesn't that come with a cost, Robert?
I think it's singular. You are one way as a person in business and personal life. How could someone be a different person when they leave the restaurant? And now they're chill and everything's good and no problem. You never see him as being a relaxed and happy person.
This whole cast of characters, there are so many stressors. This list just added one more stressor to everybody's life. On the wall of this show, it says every second counts. We tell you that all the time. Be present. Enjoy every moment. But you have to have balance. So I do want to talk about some of the personal non-negotiables and the business non-negotiables. But I want to ask you before I do that, how much does setting and raising standards and getting a Michelin star really matter?
Well, it depends. I'll never forget being at one of the WEVA conventions.
Wedding and Event Videographer Association is WEVA.
And standing at the elevator banks in one of the many hotels that the convention was held in over the years. And there was a colleague who was standing there. My interaction with him was as we were going down to the main event, he made a comment regarding that if you were to win an award that night, and he was talking about himself, right, but obviously everyone else, that unless he won the top award, it wouldn't matter to him. Like any achievement other than the very top award wouldn't matter to him. And he was very serious about that. And it always stuck with me, and I always found it interesting. He would say that because I think any accolade given to you by your peers, whatever it be,
how could
should
that not
be
matter?
something that matters to you. So if he showed off the awards, that it would matter to other people. If you think about it, the client, especially ours, does it matter to them or does it matter to us? Because we had another colleague, and it makes me laugh when I think about it, who would print up his own award certificates.
I guess anyone could do that.
Hang them in his office. And he started his own video association, and he would give himself awards. And he would have them hanging in his office. You see it all the time. Listen, people make wild claims online, and they're billionaires, and I made $300 million, but yet you're advertising on Facebook to sell your $29 course. If you made $300 million, like really? Like, shouldn't you have moved on already? What's the deal?
One of my non-negotiables, and you know this, I will not settle. And I think that you would agree. We're not the kind of people that settle. You make a decision. There's a lot of decision-making involved in life, but I don't want to settle. I do aspire for excellence, and I have my own lists that I adhere to. Some personal non-negotiables, one should be health. Committing to fueling your minds and your body with good things. I'm happy that we've committed to playing pickleball. I think we're aware of the foods that we eat. Another personal non-negotiable is integrity. Be honest, be trustworthy, be respectful, be ethical. Establish a stable environment where...
Don't pass that too quickly, the integrity part, because it's not a given, unfortunately.
No, it's important.
It's
right?
absolutely important.
You have to know what to expect from others and what you can rely on.
I think keeping your word, it's what it's based on. Don't make promises you can't keep, period.
I think that's an important non-negotiable.
And I always over-deliver.
You do. You do.
And sometimes it's burned me.
The other important personal non-negotiables within your social circles, which means your family and your friends, is quality time. Prioritize your family and friend time.
And time in general. Time giving.
Role modeling is so important. We got to teach our children about the values that matter to us. And also, it's an important non-negotiable. Boundaries are important.
Yeah.
Boundaries help prevent overcommitment. I've never been a high maintenance. I meet people where they're at. And I think that's an important thing to incorporate into your relationships. Living by one's non-negotiables can inspire others to identify and adhere to their core values.
I hope so, because we teach by doing, first and foremost. And
Everyone's watching.
people see what you do and how you do it, which is good. But I have to tell you, we build a reputation both personally and professionally, which can sometimes work against you. And I think when people come to expect certain things from you, so be prepared to not only be authentic, but to be consistent. I think about like really intense people, like a guy like Gordon Ramsay. Like, what's he like hanging out at home? And he's dialed it back a little bit, I guess maybe as he's aging. But a guy like that, so intense. Or a guy like Tony Robbins. Like, I can't imagine him just in a totally relaxed state. He's so on all the time. And there are a lot of people like that. And I think that it would be really hard to totally not be who you are. That's who you are. I just think there's one person there. I think our behavior in certain situations is what makes that difference, how we regulate and modulate.
We have these ongoing checklists. The checklist is what matters most to you, meaning you, me, us, who we're working with. What is it that you really want to make sure happens? And to assess that along the way. So professional non-negotiables are work-life balance. There should be a clear separation between your work hours and your personal time. A company culture, working in a positive environment with respect. That's a non-negotiable. Growing and learning. Having continued opportunities to learn. In life, in work. It's an important, in my opinion, non-negotiable. We are lifelong learners.
If you're doing it right, I think you'll attract who you want to be surrounded by. That kind of becomes the result of who you are and how you show up. The whole idea of attracting like-minded individuals is what we're building. As we build our audience, this becomes our community of like-minded individuals, because someone who doesn't see what it is that we're doing is not necessarily going to be attracted to the show and going to continue to listen. It's those of you who have engaged with us and continue to engage with us and share your feedback. That's what helps us know that we're on the right track. And although it's not everyone who listens to us, it's a sampling of all of you, and we know that what we're saying resonates. And there may be many of you that are saying, oh, isn't this obvious? Well, yeah, it's obvious, but it's the kind of obvious that you can't not benefit from hearing over and over again, because it needs to be ingrained. It needs to be something that you don't even think about. And I had a conversation this morning between pickleball games as we were sitting on the sideline with one of our friends, and just talking about the simple things of helping someone who needs some assistance, holding the door open for someone, right? Seeing someone who's struggling with a package and helping. Being the kind of person who seems welcoming enough to have someone ask, can you help me with my yogurt selections in the supermarket, and can you help me carry my packages out? Okay? What is it that made her ask me versus someone else? Did she get the vibe that I would help her? And I did, and I helped her. I want to be the one that's known to hold the door open or help you schlep a package or two. Or I would tell my wedding planners at a wedding, if you need help with that, let me know. I'll help you. And it wasn't a video thing. If you need help moving that from there to there, I was there to help.
That's part of your non-negotiable.
Correct.
You are a
That's
caring
who I am.
being.
But it's going to be no matter what I'm doing. If I see my neighbor, how many times did I run next door to help? I put out a fire.
You did.
For our
next door in
neighbor.
Livingston. You did.
The house would have burned down.
Your actions are aligned with your beliefs.
I hope so.
You are authentic in every way. You are purposeful in
As
real life.
you have a reputation that precedes you. It gets there 2 rooms ahead of you. People know you and who you are and what you're all about. It's not hard for anyone paying attention to understand what you're about.
Well, I tell
think
everybody, if you need a pep talk, schedule that discovery meeting with me because I promise you, I will be there for you. That is part of our DNA. One of my non-negotiables is definitely that we have a vibrant collaboration, Robert. And I am really proud of that. And I believe also, no matter how much I want to accomplish on my lists, I still make sure that there is some flexibility. And I think that that's another important non-negotiable because you have to be adaptable to unexpected changes. It's inevitable. And I really believe that when you really aspire to have more excellence in your life, you can do it efficiently, you can do it effectively. You just need to do it with the attention that matters to you and communicate that to one another or the people that you work with and live with so there's harmony and balance.
Believe me, I
and
don't.
Be clear,
and
right?
I don't take
be
for granted.
Be clear about those expectations.
I don't take for granted that, for the most part, there's harmony in our family because we have seen what it's like when there isn't. You can't take that for granted. Not to say that there's not issues, and I think anyone who says that there aren't issues with family is lying. Of course there are issues.
You need open lines of communication. Input is important. That's another, to me,
right.
a non-negotiable.
There is no such thing as mind reading.
To talk through things.
Correct.
To make them happen.
Correct.
So this way, you feel whole and I feel whole.
Or closer to whole. I don't think
Closer.
everyone feels completely whole.
But we want to strengthen and build relationships with similar values and goals.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that we have on our non-negotiables list. So I am asking you to share your non-negotiables with us, whether it be on social media or email us at hello@hollyandrobert.com. We would love to learn more about what matters to you, or feel free to put a comment. And please visit our website for more inspirational content in achieving excellence. And we encourage you to identify and uphold your non-negotiables.
That is non-negotiable. You must do that. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in to Between Over and Next. We do appreciate you being here with us each Tuesday.
And we really hope you'll make Between Over and Next part of your non-negotiable list.
Right. No matter what day of the week you listen to us. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you all next time. Thanks for tuning in to Between Over and Next. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it meaningful and insightful.
If you value it to be worthwhile, please share it with your friends and family.
We would really appreciate it if you could take a moment to write a review for us. Your feedback will help us continue to create content that resonates with you.
And don't forget, in the show notes, you can find all the relevant links mentioned in this episode, from accessing free downloads to visiting our website and more.
If you have any questions or comments, we would love to hear from you. Simply send us an email. Our email address is hello@hollyandrobert.com. We're always excited to connect with our listeners.
So until next time, thank you again for joining us on Between Over and Next.
Thank you for listening to Between Over and Next, the podcast that navigates the twists and turns of life with courage, laughter, and a whole lot of inspiration. Tune in every Tuesday to hang out with Holli and Robert on your favorite podcast platform. Visit hollyandrobert.com and follow them on social media to ignite your passion and fuel your dreams.